Hello and welcome again to another episode of Battle Ready. And today, Drake and I are going to talk about the three modes of play.
Yeah.
Right? There's matched play.
Uh-huh.
What's that?
Even fighting where there's several objectives in specific places. One person gets a triumph, one person doesn't. You try and murder each other and take the objectives. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's usually about controlling objectives on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Narrative play, like Path to Glory. What's that like?
If we're talking Path to Glory, you'll build your army from scratch.
Well, I just mean the battle parts.
Cool stories with a couple of dudes trying to kill another couple of dudes.
Try to kill more dudes. Yep. So, but the narrative ones are pretty cool because a lot of times they have, instead of objectives, they don't even do objectives, or battle tactics. Battle tactics are in matched play, right? They just are like, you've got to get through this place, or you've got to
Murder everyone.
kill a bunch of people, or you've got to defend something from somebody else. So they're pretty interesting. They have little stories attached to them.
Yeah.
But then the third method of play is open play.
Open.
So I think open play gets a bad rap because the idea behind open play is sort of the way they bill it is bring whatever you want. You've got models, put them on the table,
Yeah.
roll some dice, let's have some fun. And if you took it at face value, I think that would be a recipe for disaster. Like, what if we just bought whatever models you want? So I brought like
10 Mon Crushers.
yeah, what if I brought a Maw Crusher and a Zombie Dragon and,
5 more Gargants.
yeah, a bunch of that stuff, and you had your line of 10 Vindictors. It wouldn't work out well, right? One person would wompy stompy over the other. And so I feel like that's not good.
Unless you're amazing at rolling dice.
unless the dice love you. I guess.
Unless you get all sixes the whole game.
But one of the things that's cool about it is, or I should say is not cool about it, is that I think that idea of open play is bad. I think that's only going to lead to bad experiences. And I think that's in part why you don't hear, it's very rare that you get a battle report on open play. It's very rare that you hear people talk about open play or anything like that because it's sort of viewed as the not real game, right? The real game is narrative and matched. And then open play is like, you've got some models. We just want you to play with your toys. Get out there and have fun, you kids. And it's just, it's not good. Mm-hmm. But if you use, what we've done a couple times now, is we've taken the matched play army building. 2,000 points.
Yes.
3 battle line.
Yes.
No more than 6 leaders. All the normal restrictions. 2,000. Yeah, I said 2,000 points.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just emphasizing that. I don't know.
You must have 2,000.
But if you take all that, then what you end up with are 2 relatively comparably powered armies.
Yeah.
Of course, everything's different matchups. People, there's no such thing as exactly even.
Yeah, there's no such thing as the unbeatable army. Also.
That's true.
There is no unbeatable army.
But you have 2 forces that are pretty comparable. And then open play is really about you roll off to determine the deployments. Mm-hmm. Then you roll off to determine the mission. Then you roll to develop a twist. Mm-hmm. And then you roll to develop a ruse.
Yeah.
And in our games, it's been pretty fun.
Yeah. There's one bad thing about the twists.
What's that?
You could just not get one.
That's true. If you roll a 1 on the twist, there's 6 levels, and if you roll a 1, it's no twist. Which, then you're just sort of back to normal play, I guess. But it is cool having a twist. But I think open play has actually been really, really fun because the setups are random-ish, right? You might be in corners, you might be on long table edges, you might be on the short table edges. I think that the different battle plans they have in there are good, or I should say they're fairly straightforward. Maybe that's the better way to put it. They're straightforward, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, power in numbers, or different things count more, or oh, I'm going to remove an objective in the 3rd battle round, and all those sorts of things, right? So those things have sort of put on the side. But the objectives, it'll say things like, each person puts an objective in their territory. And then like the one that we played where it was you put an objective in your territory, and then whoever conquers both wins, or if nobody conquers both, whoever has the one closest to the center.
Yeah, I just put mine in the center and said, men, stay on this objective and shoot for your lives.
Yeah, and that was a good way to play it, right? Because if you put it closer to the center and you control it because it's the one in your territory, you're going to win after 5 battle rounds. But if you put it closer to the center, that's giving the other person more ability to conquer it. And if they can conquer both, maybe there's back in the corner or something you'll never get to. But if they can conquer both, then they win automatically right before the 5th. So you have these interesting strategic decisions, and rather than having the objectives placed in advance in immovable areas, unless you're a Gargant and kicking it around.
I can imagine a Gargant list where it's all 3 of the guys that can kick stuff around.
Just kicking stuff all day.
Yeah, and just kick it all towards your area and just monopolize it. It's like, it's my
got 'em all.
objectives. They're
So-
mine.
So rather than that, you sort of get to develop the board partly as part of your strategy, right? Part of my strategy is I want to put this objective close to the center. Or part of my strategy is I want to keep it further away so
I will
that I
put my
can try to
objective in
attack.
the very corner. You're not allowed to have it.
Right, exactly. If I put it back here, then I'm fairly confident you're not going to get it, except you were Caradron, so you could have gotten it, right? But I'm fairly confident you're not going to get it, and then I can just march my whole army to try to take that one piece. So it does play into different play styles, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you get to roll for the twist. The twist is a rule that battle has. You know, one of the twists, for example, is it's in a lightning storm. So in the hero phase,
Ciao.
you get to roll dice
Ciao.
and maybe damage different units on the other side as lightning hits them, right?
Or maybe Stormcast spawn.
Or that would be cool too.
That would be cool.
But the twists are pretty cool because unlike match play all has twists too, right?
Yeah.
Even in the most basic scenario, you have the vantage point, which gives you additional command points if you control it. Or you have battle line count for more, or the only heroes can conquer objectives.
Oh, that one's hard.
But they're all special rules, right? And that's all the twist is. So the twist is a random special rule that gets applied to everything. And so what initially seemed overly random and just sort of silly and fluffy, having played with it a couple times, it's sort of legit.
Yeah.
I sort of like it. Thoughts on the twist?
I'm just still not happy that there's a chance you don't get a twist at all, and then you're just
Well,
playing.
you could always re-roll.
And then you're just playing match to play.
Yeah. In fact, in the Caradron White Dwarf, they have a thing in there that says if you roll no twist, you get to roll on the special Caradron twists. I'm pretty sure I saw that. So anyway, and then the last thing is the ruse. Now the ruse is sort of fun.
Yeah, because it gives your army a buff.
It gives your army a special power. There's 6 of them on there. You
In
roll.
our first one, I got a 2. It was reinforcements. So I was thinking, if my Ironclad dies, I'll just bring in a new
Yeah,
Ironclad.
reinforcements let you bring on a
new
unit
unit.
that was killed that's not a hero or monster.
Yeah.
Now, an Ironclad's not a hero or monster,
It's
so it did work out pretty well for Caradron.
Yeah. Caradron
But-
has no monsters.
That's pretty cool, right? You lose your Vindictors, you lose your Myrmidon Painbringers, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you can get another one onto the battlefield. And because you know you have that,
You lose your Troggoths.
you can play a little bit riskier though,
Yeah.
right? You can say, all right, I'm gonna march this unit into combat and throw it away because I know I'm gonna get it right back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just use it as a missile, shoot it at the enemy.
I should put Vindictors into missile formation.
Yep. And then another one, as another example, is you don't take battle shock tests as long as your general's on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Again, that could be really, really good. Now, some armies, if you're OBR, if you're Ossiarch Bone Reapers,
Were you about to say Obi-Wan Kenobi?
no, I was going to say OBR. If you're Ossiarch Bone Reapers, right, they don't suffer from battle shock.
No.
So that's going to be a bummer if you get that one. But for the most part, that's a pretty good buff,
Same thing with
and it'll
Minotaur.
save you some command
They
points.
don't really suffer from battle shock.
Yeah, if you've got a mostly demon army or a
mostly
death army where you're
Undead.
you're
Or
bravery 10.
Stormcast, they have a high bravery.
Yeah, so there are a lot of high bravery armies where it's not as important, but it could still save you a couple of command points because you're not going to need to save them for inspiring presence or whatever.
Yeah. In case half your Vindictors get swept out.
I think that the major drawback from open play is that you might get buffs that are not equal.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 buffs that you get might be, everything in that that table is of relatively equal power. But as an example, maybe I get the no battle shock one while I'm playing Ossiarch Bone Reapers, so it doesn't really help me. And Drake gets the reinforcement ones while he's playing Caradron, so he gets another Ironclad if he wants it. I mean, those are hugely different buffs, right? So there is that randomness can happen, and I'm sure there can be games where one player just has an advantage. But frankly, the advantages don't seem huge for the most part. I mean, certain things can align, the stars can align. But for the most part, it doesn't seem like there's huge ones. What?
You could use war engines. Like
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because those aren't heroes or monsters. They're war engines.
Yeah, so for some armies, they're going to benefit from that one
Yeah, like
more,
Skaven.
right? Yep, maybe. I mean, I don't know Skaven enough, but maybe.
They just get another catapult they can blow up. We're blowing up.
But I think that open play sort of gets a bad rap in terms of, oh, it's the silly one. Now, who knew? That's the silly. But it is pretty good. I think that it allows a little bit more flexibility than matched play, although it also allows, because of that, there's more variance, right? You might have a little bit more swing, but I don't think it's going to be that much more. It seems to be really fun. So I think it's probably something we'll continue to toss in every now and again and see how those open plays go. But if you haven't played open play and you have the same sort of idea that we've had, that it's the silly one for silly people who like silly things, no.
I like silly things.
It is the legitimate one for people who are interested in having a good time. And maybe, just maybe, you've played the 6 or 12 battle plans in General's Handbook a lot. And maybe, just maybe, you will cry if you ever have to play Tooth and Nail or Savage Gains again, and you just are done with them.
Aren't those the ones we marked as red and terrible?
No, Savage Gains is a good one, but I can't remember where we put Tooth and Nail. But I think breaking out a little bit into open play, especially in a casual game, right? It's never going to be a tournament thing, but in a casual game where you're having some Warhammer in the basement with friends, give open play a try. Build your armies in matched play style, but give open play a try. The mission generator is surprisingly robust and pretty fun. Final thoughts?
This brings WoG into a whole new level.
Good thoughts, Jake. Well, this has been another episode of Battle Ready, and thanks so much for watching.